Have you ever walked into a room and felt something shift? No words, no confrontation, just the quiet sting of unseen hostility. A look that lingers too long, a compliment that never arrives, a presence that grows colder each time you rise. Hatred, when silent, is harder to name and harder to ignore. But how do you face what is never said aloud? Do you confront shadows, or is there a deeper kind of response? The Stoics believed true power lies not in reacting, but in becoming. And sometimes the most piercing answer is stillness itself. Stay with me. What follows may change the way you carry yourself forever. 1. Don't react. Rise above. There is no greater display of strength than refusing to be moved by those who seek to provoke you. In a world where outrage is currency and drama is a game, the man who remains silent, composed and unshaken becomes untouchable. When someone insults you, belittles you, or tries to chip away at your peace, they're not just speaking, they're baiting. They are hoping to drag you into their chaos, to see if they can pull you down into their level of confusion and weakness. But if you respond with anger, they win. If you react with fury, they feel powerful. That's their game, and you must never play it. The Stoics taught that the only realm we control is our own mind. Your thoughts, your reactions, your inner fortress, that's where true power lives. What someone says about you is just noise. What matters is whether you let it echo inside your soul. Picture yourself as a mountain during a storm. Wind may howl, rain may fall, but the mountain does not tremble. It endures, it watches, it remains. That is the essence of rising above. Not because you're indifferent to insult, but because you're committed to mastery. There's dignity in silence. There's clarity in non-response. Most people crumble because they need to prove themselves. They feel the urge to correct every lie, to respond to every jab, to win every petty battle. But the one who walks away without a word is not weak. He is free. He has nothing to prove because he knows who he is. And that kind of knowing cannot be shaken by whispers, gossip, or slander. It is built in solitude, tested in silence, and forged in discipline. Every time you choose stillness over retaliation, you rob your enemies of their power. They hurl their words hoping for fire, but find only stone. They expect you to chase their approval or stoop to their level, but you simply walk on, calm, deliberate, and powerful. That is how you hurt them, not by yelling, not by matching their energy, but by refusing to give them what they want most, your attention. At the end of the day, the most powerful revenge is becoming someone who doesn't even notice the ones trying to break him. So hold your silence, guard your energy. Let them wonder why they couldn't reach you, because the more you grow, the smaller they'll feel. And that, without lifting a single finger, is how you win. 2. Let calmness break their control. There is a kind of strength that does not shout, does not strike, and does not chase applause. It simply remains, calm, composed, immovable, and nothing confuses those who seek to provoke you more than this. Because when someone lashes out with disrespect or subtle cruelty, they are not looking for truth. They are looking for chaos. They want to see you unravel. They want your anger to confirm their power over your mind. But when you remain still, when your face does not flinch and your spirit does not bend, you do something they cannot explain. You remove their grip without raising your voice. You deny their game without playing it. And suddenly, all their weapons fall useless to the ground. Your calmness does not just protect you, it reveals them. While they spiral in drama and dysfunction, your stillness becomes a mirror, showing them what they truly are. You do not need to insult them. You do not need to explain yourself. Your silence is sharper than any word because it reflects their weakness. And here lies the paradox. The more violently they try to shake you, the more they expose how unsteady they are. The one who truly controls the room is the one who controls himself. Picture someone trying to corner you at work, spreading lies, casting doubts, smiling while they stab. Most would scramble to react, to argue, to prove their innocence, but not you. You are stoic in soul, anchored in truth. You speak only when necessary and never from emotion. Your response, if any, is measured, concise, and rooted in principle. Because you know who you are, and no rumor, no glare, no whisper behind your back can change that. This is not suppression. This is sovereignty. The Stoics never sought to dominate others. They sought only to master themselves. Marcus Aurelius said it with quiet power. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. And when you do, when you start living as if your peace is a sacred ground no one is allowed to trample, something powerful unfolds. Your presence no longer invites challenge, it commands respect, not through fear, but through unshakable clarity. This is not a denial of feeling, it is the discipline of not letting feeling become your master. It is the choice, in every moment, to be led by values instead of impulses. And though this path requires effort, every time you resist the urge to react, you become more free. The ones who seek to provoke you will fall into their own storms. You, meanwhile, will rise like stone from the sea. In every arena of life, from the digital world to the private ones, we live behind closed doors. Calmness is your greatest act of rebellion. It is your sword and your shield. Guard it, honor it, let it speak when words would only waste your strength. In a world that confuses noise with power, your stillness will be unforgettable. 3. Be indifferent to the unworthy. An insult is not just a comment, it is a trap. It is bait wrapped in emotion, carefully thrown to see if you'll bite. And most do. They react, they defend, they give away their power in exchange for momentary validation. But the Stoic knows better. The Stoic sees the game for what it is and simply does not play. Indifference is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the ability to see an attack and walk past it untouched, knowing that dignity is never found in the mud of petty conflict. When someone mocks you, misjudges you, or tries to provoke you, let it fall. Let it die in silence, because unless you pick it up, it carries no weight. Think of it like this. A person hurls a stone of insult, expecting you to catch it, to carry it, to bleed from it. But if it hits the ground and you keep walking, they are the only one who looks foolish. Their words echo unanswered, revealing more about their inner disorder than about your worth. And that silence, that lack of response, is louder than any comeback. It says, I have better things to protect. My time, my peace, my energy. The one who does not react is not indifferent to truth. He's indifferent to noise. Marcus Aurelius once asked why we so often give more weight to another's opinion than to our own. That question, when truly understood, changes everything. Why should the words of someone who does not respect you define how you feel about yourself? Why should anyone unworthy of your trust be worthy of your emotional investment? When you remain steady in the face of insult, you are not ignoring the world. You are choosing not to be ruled by it. That is not apathy. That is command. Imagine a colleague who targets you in every meeting, undermines your ideas, throws veiled jabs in the name of humor. The crowd may watch for a reaction. But you, rooted in clarity, do not flinch. You answer only when it serves the moment, never the ego. And in that calm, the dynamic shifts. What was meant to wound becomes meaningless. Their attempts to hurt you crumble under your restraint, and you walk away, not victorious in argument, but in control of yourself. That is the true victory. Indifference is not the absence of care, it is the protection of what truly matters. It is the refusal to bleed for those who seek only to watch you fall. And when you master this, something changes. You become immune to cheap attacks. You stop dancing to the rhythm of petty conflict. Your calm becomes untouchable, your silence a statement. And those who once tried to provoke you, they are left frustrated, shouting into a wind that does not answer. This is stoicism in motion, unmoved, unshaken, unreachable. 4. Win through virtue. There is a quiet force that dismantles hate without saying a word. It is not retaliation. It is not revenge. It is virtue. And when you choose to meet hostility with unwavering integrity, you disrupt the very foundation that those who hate you stand on. They expect you to fight, to fall, to abandon your principles under pressure. But when you remain centered, calm, and principled, you do something they cannot counter. You take away their ability to control you. And in that moment, you win. Not with power, not with noise, but with the enduring weight of character. Virtue is not perfection. It is the conscious decision to walk the harder path. To speak honestly when lying would be easier. To act with courage when fear begs you to stay quiet. To hold compassion when bitterness knocks at your door. In a world where shortcuts are praised and ethics are negotiable, the choice to stand firm is radical. It is an act of strength. And that strength unsettles those who rely on deception and manipulation. They cannot understand why someone would choose discipline over drama. But your consistency, your refusal to be swayed, becomes a mirror that exposes their weakness. Picture someone trying to discredit you, using gossip and lies to twist perceptions. Most people would react, desperate to defend themselves, but not you. You continue your work with grace. You remain respectful. You let your actions speak in a way that noise never can, and slowly their story collapses. Because when others see your restraint, your clarity, your refusal to play dirty, they begin to see the truth for themselves. You did not need to argue. Your presence said enough. The Stoics believed virtue was the highest good because it is the only thing that cannot be taken from you. You may lose favor, status, even relationships. But your decision to live rightly is yours alone. And when your enemies realize that nothing they do can make you break character, they begin to lose interest. Their efforts become futile. Because you have become immune to the bait, you cannot be pulled into their world when your compass points only to what is true. Living with virtue is not weakness. It is endurance. It is strength sharpened in silence. It is a life that demands sacrifice but returns peace. So when hatred surrounds you, do not fight it with fire. Let your values be your weapon. Let your dignity be your defiance. Because the one who lives with virtue never needs to shout. Their life is the message. And in time, it speaks louder than any lie. 5. Let discipline speak for you. There is nothing more quietly devastating to those who want you to fail than watching you succeed through unwavering discipline. They may mock your early steps, roll their eyes at your routines, or whisper behind your back. But the moment your consistency begins to bear fruit, the room goes silent. That is the unmatched power of discipline. It doesn't argue, it doesn't explain, it simply proves. And when it proves, no insult or doubt can stand against it. Your results become the only voice that matters. Discipline is not about punishment or perfection. It is the daily decision to stay loyal to your path, even when motivation is nowhere to be found. It is showing up when others are sleeping, focusing when others are scattered, choosing clarity when distractions scream for your attention. And for those who hope to see you stumble, this quiet perseverance is infuriating. Because they expected you to burn out, to lose interest, to fall into the same traps they did. But you don't. You endure. Not in loud, dramatic displays, but in the smallest, most powerful way possible, by continuing. The Stoics taught that the only true victory is mastery over the self. And discipline is the tool that sharpens that mastery. It is how you keep your course steady when storms rise. When people try to distract, provoke, or discourage you, you simply return to your work. You do not explain, you do not flinch, because your mission is not built on approval, it is built on intention. and that quiet focus cuts deeper than any rebuttal. Picture someone doubting you at every turn, waiting for you to fold. But instead of fighting back, you let your habits answer for you. You build in silence, and over time, your progress becomes undeniable. You didn't need to announce your rise. You let your discipline carry you there. That is a power your enemies will never understand, because they live in reaction and you live in purpose. Each time you resist the temptation of shortcuts, each time you say no to comfort and yes to consistency, you gain something that cannot be faked. Confidence. The kind that is earned, not inherited. The kind that is built, not bought. So stay the course. Keep building. Let your results carry your voice, because in a world of noise, it is the disciplined life that speaks the loudest. And when it does, even your enemies will have no choice but to listen. 6. Let adversity build you. Adversity is the unseen battlefield where the strongest souls are formed. Those who dislike you, who silently root for your collapse, often rely on hardship to do the damage they cannot do themselves. They wait in the shadows, hoping life will strike you hard enough to make you falter. They count on the storm to break you. But when you meet pain with presence, when you walk through fire and emerge more focused, more grounded, more powerful, you rob them of their last hope. Their silent anticipation of your fall crumbles the moment you keep rising. To the Stoic mind, adversity is not a curse. It is a teacher. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Hardship is not something to run from, it is something to rise through. And when you use the obstacles as fuel, when you treat setbacks as sharpening stones, you transform into someone they no longer know how to handle. You are no longer reacting, you are becoming. Think back to a time when everything turned against you, when betrayal stung, when failure echoed, when your confidence was shaken. Maybe someone watched from a distance, expecting your collapse. But instead of disappearing, you chose to endure. You moved forward, even with a bruised spirit. You did not complain, you did not seek pity, you quietly rebuilt. That quiet strength, that refusal to fold, speaks louder than any confrontation ever could, and your enemies feel it. They see your persistence and realize nothing they do will undo you. The Stoic doesn't seek to avoid pain, they seek to master the response to it. Resilience is not pretending the blow didn't land, it is choosing to keep walking anyway. It is finding clarity in the midst of chaos and standing tall in moments of silence. The one who can remain composed while the world shakes is not just surviving, they are rising. Adversity becomes your power the moment you decide to use it. While others break and point fingers, you take the blows and turn them into progress. Your growth becomes their defeat. Your calmness reveals their noise, and your discipline in difficulty shines brighter than anything they can throw at you. That is what rattles them most. You are no longer someone they can predict. You have become something else entirely. Let your setbacks serve your ascent. Let your pain become purpose. And when they watch you climb where they expected you to fall, they will understand too late. You do not fight them. You outgrow them. And in that, you win. 7. Use silence as power. In a world drowning in noise, where everyone rushes to speak, to justify, to argue, silence has become a forgotten art. But to the Stoic, silence is not weakness. It is command. It is the restraint of a mind that does not flinch under pressure, that does not answer every insult with noise. Silence, when chosen with purpose, becomes a presence more powerful than any speech. It creates discomfort in those who thrive on drama, because when you say nothing, you shift the weight of attention back onto them. You become the stillness they cannot shake. Picture someone launching an attack on you, publicly trying to tarnish your name, waiting for a reaction. Most people would respond immediately, trying to defend their pride. But not you. You pause. You say nothing. And in that pause, a different kind of message is sent. Your silence becomes a spotlight. Not on you, but on them. Their theatrics are no longer part of a performance because the audience they hoped for never arrived. What they receive instead is the unsettling truth that you are not bound to play their game. The Stoics knew that not every provocation deserved an answer. Silence is not submission, it is mastery. It shows you are not governed by impulse, but by principle. Marcus Aurelius warned against valuing the opinions of others more than our own. When you no longer feel the need to correct every lie or chase every false narrative, you become free. Free from their chaos, and even more importantly, free from your own ego's demand to always respond. It takes strength to be still when your reputation is questioned. It takes discipline not to rise to every bait. But each time you resist, your silence grows more powerful. It becomes a shield that cannot be pierced and a mirror that reflects back every insult to its sender. Your enemies are forced to wrestle not with you, but with their own emptiness. Even online, where criticism is constant and performative, silence stands tall. You do not clap back. You do not explain. You simply let the noise pass. And in that passing, you are revealed not as passive, but as immovable. So the next time you are tempted to speak, ask yourself if silence would say more. Because often, the most devastating answer is none at all. Let your silence become the echo they cannot silence. Let it haunt their need for control. And let it prove that the one who does not react rules the room. 8. Stand firm in integrity. There is a kind of strength that does not raise its voice, does not seek approval, and does not waver when tested. That strength is integrity. It does not need to prove itself because it is rooted in something deeper than perception. When you walk through life guided by what is right instead of what is easy, you disarm those who wish to see you fall. They operate in shadows, hoping you will compromise. But you stay in the light, and that choice alone defeats them without a single confrontation. To live with integrity is not to pretend to be flawless. It is to strive for alignment between your beliefs and your behavior. It is to choose honesty when lying would be more convenient, to stay fair when others cheat, to honor your values even when no one is watching. This consistency builds something unshakable within you. While others hope to see you crumble under pressure, your quiet resolve becomes their frustration. They cannot understand how you keep showing up clear-eyed and grounded. But that is what rattles them most. You are not playing by their rules. Think about the person who tries to provoke you with gossip, the one who manipulates behind closed doors, the one who cuts corners while expecting everyone else to do the same. These people expect weakness. They thrive on it. But when they encounter someone they cannot deceive, someone who does not lower their standards to fit in, their confidence begins to crack. Your presence becomes a quiet confrontation. Not because you impose anything, but because your integrity reminds them of everything they abandon to gain an advantage. Integrity is not about public recognition. It is about peace. When you know you are not living a lie, you sleep better. You do not fear being exposed because you have nothing to hide. And in a world where deception is accepted as normal, this kind of truth becomes a rare form of power. It unsettles those who depend on illusion, not because you threaten them with words, but because your existence shows them what they lack. You will be misunderstood. People will say you are too rigid, too moral, too serious, but the cost of compromise is far greater. Every time you betray what you believe, you weaken your foundation. The Stoics understood that our character is the only possession that truly belongs to us. Guard it with everything, because when the trials come and the masks fall, only those built on truth will remain standing. Let them mock you, let them doubt you, let them wait for you to slip. They will get tired, you will stay grounded, and in the end, they will see what they failed to become. That is how you hurt them. Not by becoming like them, but by proving that you never had to. 9. Forgive to set yourself free. There is no gesture more quietly powerful, more deeply disarming than forgiveness. Not because it excuses the harm done, but because it frees you from the grip of those who tried to break you. While the world sees forgiveness as surrender, the Stoic sees it as strength. To forgive is not to forget. It is to choose peace over poison. It is to look at the wound and say, I see it, I have learned from it, and I will not carry it any longer. Those who hate you often want to stay present in your life, not by love, but through resentment. They linger in your thoughts, hoping your anger will keep the door open. But when you forgive, you shut that door. You say, I will not let your shadow darken my path. And in doing so, you rise beyond them, unburdened and whole. They lose the only weapon they had left, your reaction. Forgiveness, to the Stoic, is not emotional weakness. It is detachment mastered. It is knowing that vengeance chains you to the past, while forgiveness clears the path forward. It is not about letting someone back in. It is about letting yourself out of the prison of bitterness. You reclaim your energy. You return to yourself. You walk free. Your enemies expect you to remain trapped in anger, but when you smile, move on, and live well, they are left behind, stunned, because nothing confuses hate more than a heart that refuses to harden. Forgiveness becomes your final word. Not in defense, but in defiance of their hold on you. So forgive, not because they earned it, but because your peace is more valuable than their memory. That is the Stoic path. That is your quiet victory. If something in this message resonated with you, if it reminded you of your own quiet strength, or gave you the clarity to let go of what no longer deserves your energy, then this journey is yours to continue. You don't need noise to be powerful. You don't need attention to be meaningful. All you need is the willingness to rise, silently and steadily, guided by what you know is right. Each time you choose stillness over reaction, discipline over drama, forgiveness over revenge, you're not just protecting your peace, you're becoming someone they can't control, someone they can't reach. And that is its own kind of freedom. If you'd like to keep walking this path with me, feel free to subscribe. Quietly, intentionally. No pressure, just presence. And if you've made it this far, drop a simple comment. Still rising. Let that be your quiet declaration. There's more ahead. More strength to uncover, more clarity to live by. And in the next video, we'll continue building that unshakable self, one choice at a time. Until then, walk in peace, stay grounded, and remember, true power doesn't chase attention. It simply becomes undeniable.